So here's an
Yeah, yeah.
organization that's trying to move in this
Mhm.
direction, and they're starting to, have these think tanks internally, and they're
Right, right,
asking each
right.
other questions. What are some of those questions that they just get wrong?
Yeah. So basically, this is an easy answer because I encourage everyone to take a course in design thinking. Anytime you list your favorite experiences, whether that's Ritz Carlton, Disney, whatever, all of those were created using a kind of paradigm or way of thinking called design thinking. And shout out to Roy, who doesn't think Disney is that great, by the way. But insert your favorite, whatever your favorite experience is. Design thinking starts with defining the problem and the pain points. Well, it starts with understanding the pain points, then defining the problem clearly, and then solutioning. And this is actually going to answer your question. Don't worry. Like what IT people love to do, let's get in a room. Okay, we're going to do experience. They start throwing solutions in, and then they start asking all those questions. Any question that you ask before you have understood your employees and understood the people you support, and then define those problems is the wrong question. So basically, any question that you come up with before you've rooted everyone's brain in the room and, okay, let's feel what people feel when they interact with IT. Now let's define those specific examples. Then you can start asking those questions, but you don't have the right questions to ask yet. You need to listen, just ears, and it doesn't matter if it's focus group, like, there's like multiple tools, but like Nate said, the voice of the customer, like, don't look at numbers. If you're looking at numbers, you don't want to start with numbers. You want to start with someone saying or bring somebody in the room, to tell about a terrible IT experience they had, but you got to feel it, then clearly define those pain points, then start asking questions. And I think when you do that, you're going to get you're going to get a more, custom tailored solution to the actual problems that people have. ITSM was created to standardize IT across companies. And that served a great purpose for about 25 years. Now, what ITSM needs to do is meet people where they're at and actually provide custom bespoke solutions for the specific culture in their company. Requires a little bit of shift, and that's where the listening comes in.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw a story recently about one of the large telecom providers, and they're out there trying to sell a new service, which is internet over the airwaves, right? Wireless internet. And people were having problems, and they were calling up, and they were getting these kind of rote answers. Oh, there's a problem with the tower. And that was just because the folks on the line had no answer for them. They had no ability to drive a solution, and so they were being measured by how long they were on the phone. Let's get these folks off the phone. It's a tower problem. They're working on it, and that was about it, all anybody was getting. And that's fine the first two times you call. Well, by the third time you call, that's absolutely unacceptable, right? So
Yikes.
yeah, it's tough stuff. Rand, what have you heard in terms of sort of the wrong question and the results thereof?
So I totally agree with what Ben said. And there is an operations framework, and that first phase is explore. And what it really says, and I want to kind of clarify something too. When we talk about experience and we say feelings and sentiment, we're not saying that everything else doesn't matter. And ITSM is a part of that, and all of these different pieces. But what we're saying is we need to start to understand where we do need to focus. And you're not going to just pay attention to every comment, but where are we getting what you usually say, friction, Nate? So as far as the questions are concerned, first of all, you start to get these hints and clues. And then we might be going out and asking questions potentially in interviews. Maybe you use a Q-Stack survey or a Pulse survey, and you're getting more hints and clues. And that does have to drive the questions that you ultimately ask. But this is also a really good place to insert this idea of experience level agreements. And first of all, they do not replace service level agreements. They go hand in hand, right? And it is the structure part of it. It's, how do we still work efficiently? How do we still optimize our resources? How do we still, automate in the right places? But it's okay, based on what we've learned, here's an issue within, let's just say it's within our organization for employees. Maybe they hate the onboarding experience. Maybe they don't like to work with IT. Maybe, whatever. Maybe you talked about a digital experience earlier. Maybe I'd like to be more productive in my job. Okay, well, what is that overarching question? And you learn all this through how you do this, right? There's a science to it as well. So we learn, okay, here's my overarching question, and the things that matter most. Maybe just a very simplistic example is, okay, the new whatever iPhone. Oh, actually, I don't know what it's called. That little flip Samsung. I just cracked up at the commercial yesterday where it's like, but I love my phone. I can't go to that, right? But so what makes somebody love their phone, right? What do I want in my phone? And maybe it's really important that it's fast. Maybe it's really important that I have lots of storage. So those are what we call experience indicators. So here's this overarching question. And what we've also learned is what makes that good or bad is this and this and this. So it drives the questions that you ask. And I know I'm taking a long way around saying that I totally agree with what Ben said, but there are ways that you can do this. And some of your organizations are already doing pulse surveys or QStack or employee, any kind of surveys, right? Where you're starting to get that sentiment, but instead of just doling out the tasks to everybody in your organization, start making this a holistic effort and start with, working with XLAs and see how that drives everything else and makes it better.
Yeah, so it sounds like, on a general terms, the wrong questions are the ones you ask before you start listening.
It's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Boy, look how fast you said that.
Well, yeah, but I can say it fast, but then I can't expand upon it. So